In the eerie year 2020, I embarked on a solo hiking expedition in a remote area of the Colorado wilderness. My intentions was to disconnect from the chaos of the world and find solace in nature. The trail I chose was obscure, hidden behind a thicket of gnarled trees and barely visible from the overgrowth. As I ventured deeper into the wilderness, the landscape transformed into a desolate and haunting realm. Trees with twisted limbs and wilted leaves seemed to whisper secrets of forgotten times. The trail was worn and neglected, suggesting infrequent visitors. The sun began to descend, casting long shadows that added to the unnerving atmosphere. My steps grew hesitant, and my senses were heightened by the growing unease. Then, an echoing whistle pierced through the silence. A series of chilling notes hung in the air before abruptly vanishing. My heart raced, and I halted, scanning my surroundings for any sign of another hiker. I found none. With every cautious step, the tension heightened. The whistles returned closer and more distinct this time. An icy shiver ran down my spine, and my instincts screamed for me to turn back. Yet a stubborn curiosity propelled me forward, convincing me it was merely a trick of the wind or my imagination. Soon after, the haunting whistles resurfaced, now disturbingly near. My heart pounded in my chest, and my anxiety gnawed at my resolve. I pressed on, though my confidence wavered, and an unsettling weight settled in the pit of my stomach. The path led me to a small clearing nestled between rocky outcrops. A sense of impending doom hung in the air. It was there that I discovered an intricate den crafted from gnarled branches and bone-chilling ingenuity. The realization hit me like a blow. This was the source of the haunting melody. A feeling of vulnerability washed over me, and I sensed I was being watched. My gaze locked on the den, expecting a sinister figure to emerge. But instead, my gaze met the unflinching look of a goat. Its eyes were devoid of life, yet they bore into my soul. It stood unnaturally still, its stature was unnerving, and its size was more prominent than any goat I had ever seen. Fear clamped down on my chest as the goat's mouth parted, emitting a whistle that haunted my journey. My mind raced with thoughts of escape, and without thinking, I turned and sprinted down the rocky trail. Each step was a struggle as adrenaline surged through my veins, but I dared not to glance back. The piercing whistle echoed like a relentless pursuer that seeped into my bones. Finally, as I burst from the trees into an open area, the sound faded, leaving me breathless and trembling. The isolation of the wilderness had transformed into a living nightmare and a malevolent force that defied reason. In the aftermath, I hesitated to share my story, fearing ridicule and disbelief. But the more I delved into local legends, the more that the pieces fell into place. It wasn't just an ordinary encounter, it was a confrontation with the dark and inexplicable, a sinister force that preyed upon the unwary. My harrowing experience in the Colorado wilderness of 2020 will forever be etched into my memory, a haunting reminder that some mysteries are better left unsolved and that nature's depths can harbor unimaginable terrors. Back in 2006, during a camping trip deep in the Oregon woods, my family and some close friends embarked on an annual tradition that mixed excitement with eerie anticipation. Each year, my dad and his buddy Jake would take us on a shadow hunt, a tradition born from their mischievous desire to rile up our imaginations. One ominous night, our fathers gathered us around the campfire, faces illuminated by flickering flames. They regaled us with tales of elusive, malevolent creatures lurking in the darkness. They described these beings as shape-shifting predators, lured out by the moon's glow to prey on the unaware. As nightfall blanketed the woods, the atmosphere grew tense with a sense of foreboding. Armed with makeshift weapons, we ventured into the shadows. A mix of fear and curiosity propelled us forward. The scent of damp earth and rustling leaves accompanied our every step. The hunt took us through dense underbrush and winding trails, our footsteps punctuated by the hushed whispers of the wind and distant hoots of owls. The moon cast an eerie glow, turning trees into looming, gnarled sentinels. Echoing through the silence, a chilling whistle cut through the night air, sending shivers down our spines. We exchanged uneasy glances, but Jake's reassurances and our own excitement propelled us onward. After all, it was just a game, right? The second whistle sounded closer, raising the hair on our necks. The forest seemed to hold its breath, shadows conspiring to obscure the source of the haunting sound. We pressed on, our breaths coming quicker and anticipation melded with apprehension. As we ventured deeper into the woods, the atmosphere grew heavy with an unsettling energy. The trees seemed to close in, their twisted branches creating monstrous silhouettes that danced in the corners of our vision. The shadows played tricks on us, seeming to twist and shift in unnatural ways. Suddenly, a rustling in the underbrush sent a jolt of adrenaline through us. Jake's whispered assurance couldn't quell the rising unease. A sense of being watched washed over me, with every rustle and sign of the wind taking in a sinister undertone. As we navigated through the darkness, a sinister figure emerged from the shadows, its shape shifting and contorting. The moon's feeble light revealed a creature both humanoid and bestial, its form twisted and grotesque. The air seemed to grow colder as it moved, its elongated limbs and gnarled features defying logic. Frozen in fear, we watched as the creature's unnatural eyes locked onto each of us, its gaze penetrating our very souls. A primal terror gripped me, drowning out the whispers of reason. Panic surged, urging us to flee, yet some invisible force compelled us to stay, rooting in place. Suddenly, Jake's voice pierced the silence, calling us back. Reality snapped back into focus as our fathers emerged from the darkness, breaking the spell. The creature dissolved into the shadows, leaving only a lingering sense of dread in its wake. In the aftermath, we tried to shake off the encounter as a result of our vivid imaginations. The laughter of the campfire seemed to erase the lingering unease, and we assured ourselves it was just a game gone too far. Yet on nights when the moon cast an unsettling glow, the shadows danced in the corners of my vision. I can't help but wonder if something truly sinister had crossed our paths that night, hidden within the depths of the Oregon woods. For a decade, my family lived in an isolated cabin deep within the dense forest of northern Canada. Our experience there was tranquil, surrounded by nature's embrace, away from the hustle of civilization. Our cabin stood amidst a cluster of similar structures, inhabited by a handful of neighboring families. Over time, faint trails emerged, linking our cabins as pathways of camaraderie. We shared meals, stories, and laughter, cementing the bonds between us. It was an idyllic life, until an abrupt change shattered our sense of security. Late one moonless night, as I was immersed in reading, the distant sounds of panicked animals disrupted the stillness. Startled, I rose and peered out the window, searching for the source of the commotion. My eyes fell upon the cattle, dashing frantically as if pursued by an unseen terror. My unease grew, sensing something sinister lurking in the shadows. As I strained my eyes, I detected movement in the periphery of my vision. A large deer, its form obscured by the darkness, stood motionless, its presence unsettling. I could feel its gaze boring into me, a malevolent force emanating from the creature. My heart raced and the feeling of dread settled over me. Weeks passed, the memory of that night fading into the recess of my mind, until another sinister occurrence shook our peaceful existence. One night, my wife woke me, her voice trembling with fear. In the oppressive silence, we heard a peculiar sound, a dragging, scraping noise encircling the cabin. It felt as though an unseen malevolence was toying with us, playing with a twisted game of cat and mouse. Clutching a weapon, I stood guard by the window, my senses heightened to their limits. The chilling sound ceased, leaving only an unsettling stillness in their wake. The following morning, I embarked on a journey to seek answers from our neighbors, with my wife beseeching me to stay vigilant. As I tread the familiar path between cabins, an eerie sensation washed over me, accompanied by the feeling of being watched. I turned turned, my heart pounding, and beheld the deer once more. Its eyes glinted with an unnerving intelligence, a predator's gaze fixed upon its prey. A primal fear gripped me, urging me to escape its gaze. Arriving at a neighbor's cabin, I recounted my experiences, hoping for clarity. To my surprise, he spoke of malevolent spirits and ancient curses that plagued the forest. His words sent a shiver down my spine, casting a shadow of terror over my thoughts. In the ensuing weeks, paranoia consumed me, casting doubt on the safety of our sanctuary. Though the disturbances ceased, their impact endured, gnawing at the fringes of my consciousness. The decision to move closer to civilization was reached, and our once beloved cabin was left behind. Now, years later, I share this tale as a warning. The memories of that time remain vivid, a haunting reminder that some forces lie beyond comprehension, lurking within the shadows of the unknown.